Sharing Space
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
Time for the sharing space, and this is where we share our stories about anything that's happened in your life, at work, in your family. Share it with us. If you need advice, ask for our listeners to give you advice. Otherwise, if there's no advice being sought, we're going to listen to the story, and then I want you to then call us or send us a WhatsApp voice note and tell us if you can relate, if it's something you've experienced before as well. Shall we? All right. We've got a voice note today. And remember, if you want to share a story with us, you can simply send me an email on cm@702.co.za. Here's our story for today.
Hi, Clement and your listeners. I'm a white person who works in an office with mostly black people. Most of them are my friends, and we share almost everything. I love chatting with my colleagues and even just listening into their conversations. But sometimes I feel left out when they speak vernacular. I've tried to learn some words, but I'm obviously not very good at it yet. I've asked one of my colleagues to translate conversations for me, but sometimes she gets tired and tells me to just learn the language. But the problem is that they are different languages. Sometimes they speak isiZulu, which I think I understand a bit of. Other times they speak Sesotho, which I'm struggling with. I feel really left out and want to connect with people I now consider my friends. How can I raise it with my colleagues so that I don't seem entitled and without causing racial tensions? I don't want them to think I am imposing my English language on them.
Okay. Anonymous, thank you so much for that. So, have you been in the same situation that Anonymous is consistently in the office? And how do you advise she must address the issue? So, just to recap, she says that in the office, she's got colleagues that often engage in conversations in their indigenous languages, right? In their vernacular languages. So they speak isiZulu, they speak Sesotho or Sepedi, and she's white. She speaks English, and sometimes she can't join in those conversations. And she has tried to learn isiZulu, so she can understand a bit of that when they speak isiZulu, but she says sometimes they speak Sesotho, and she doesn't understand that language, and she feels left out. Obviously, the solution wouldn't be, go and learn all the languages, because where does she even begin? But she wants to be part of those conversations because these are people that she considers her friends. How should she handle it? Must she just accept that, these guys are never going to allow me, then they don't want me to be part of this conversation. That's why they speak in their mother tongue. Or must she go and learn maybe isiZulu so that she's able to understand it further and engage more effectively in that conversation? I don't know what my advice is. I think, so I have been in instances where people spoke Afrikaans in my presence. And because they spoke Afrikaans in my presence, I would also retaliate by speaking Sepedi, like with whoever I am with in their presence. And I once picked up that they take issue with that. And I was like, but you guys, when I'm in your presence, you are comfortable with speaking Afrikaans. But if you are in my presence and I'm speaking Sepedi with this person I'm with, that somehow becomes an issue. I think that's wild. But I think generally, Anonymous, probably what you need to do is, because I think she comes from a good place, right? And Anonymous, I'm at least understanding that Anonymous says she's trying to even learn, isiZulu. I think maybe the first thing is maybe go learn some more isiZulu, because it's not only going to work for you in that office. Like, you live in a country where isiZulu is one of the most spoken languages. That's going to work for you. Even the next company that you're going to work for, when you're in social settings and people speak this language, at least you're going to be able to engage and understand. I do find that there is some level of entitlement sometimes where, especially in the office spaces, like when you speak your language, it's almost like you are swearing at people. because the expectation is, oh, we are in the office space and therefore language should be the language, the medium of instruction. That's the language of communication in the office space. Even when you're engaging with a colleague about something completely different, perhaps your personal life or you're sharing what happened on your way to work, how do you manage things like that? Because that's a reality we face in this multi-racial country we live in. Some of you are going to be in the office. There's black and white. Some of you speak Afrikaans. Some of you speak English. Some of you speak Chivenda, Sepedi, Zulu. How do you accommodate each other? Let's talk. And what advice do you have for Anonymous? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. It's 23 before 12.
The Sharing Space
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
20 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let's go to your WhatsApps.
Clement, I think the best the lady can do is to learn just one language that she feels comfortable with, either Sesotho or isiZulu, because she can't learn them all at once, Yeah, that's where, she can communicate with them in that language. Because one feels really out when you don't understand these things.
On the team regarding the anonymous call, I will find myself working in the space that is so mixed and diverse culturally and language-wise. I've learned from early then to say, if there's a person of color who doesn't understand us, it's only fair to switch to neutral language. And most, I'll be direct and say, mostly us blacks, when you see each other, we tend to stick to our own vernacular and not accommodate the person, irrespective of what we're talking about concerns him or not. I find that to be very wrong. We need to change and stick to the English to accommodate him or her. I know sometimes jokes can never be translated and mean the same thing, but that's me. Andile and Breakendowns.
Yeah, I hear you, Andile, and I hear that, right? And I think many of us do that in the office space, but till when? I just also think that, and I've said this before, if you live in this country, if you're South African, whether black or white, and you cannot even speak one other official language other than English, you are doing a disservice to yourself. It's not even about anything else. You are doing a disservice to yourself. Like, learn some basics of one of the other languages. Like, we've got beautiful languages in this country. Like, some of us have had the opportunity to learn some Afrikaans. Some of us have had the opportunity to learn some isiZulu, Sepedi, Chivenda. You live in this country and all you can speak is English? With the multitude of languages that we have, beautiful languages we have, I think you're doing a disservice to yourself. So, even if this is not just about being part of gossip in the office or understanding what people are saying, do it for yourself. And I promise you, you're not going to regret it.
Shame, Anonza. I was in a similar kind of situation a while back. I think what helped me a little bit, because I could also understand, or thought I could understand, isiZulu there and there. I watched some isiZulu shows. Uzalo was one of them. And so, it's got the English subtitles. So that helped me check to say, oh, okay, they're saying this, then that is what they mean. Oh, when they say this, okay, this is what they're saying. But also Duolingo, it helped me a lot with isiZulu. So, I don't know if the other vernac languages, South African vernac languages, are on Duolingo, but I encourage the South African community to push for their languages to be on Duolingo. It's a great help, actually.
Indigenous languages.
Oh my God.
Vernacular languages.
Clement, this is something that my colleague and I, who is white, by the way, we're also discussing. But my colleague who is white, she's not of Afrikaans origin. She is of English origin. And most of the times, some of our predominantly white colleagues in the office always switch over to speak Afrikaans. And this really leaves us out of the conversation, and we feel discriminated as well. So we were literally telling each other that we're going to actually raise it in our next meeting, because it really is something that is unprofessional. And even if it's just on a social basis, I think it's good to be inclusive of others. But these guys even go on to talk official company things in Afrikaans, and this becomes very, exclusive in terms of like excluding other people, from the conversation. So yeah, this is very interesting. I can relate to this person, even though she's on the other side of the spectrum.
Oh yeah, that's so true. And that's unfair. And thank you for introducing that other side, because that's what other people are experiencing. You walk in the office, you're in a board meeting, or you're attending a meeting, and people start talking about the subject matter, right? The issue you're there for in the meeting. They start speaking, let's say in Afrikaans, and you are sitting there. They are not including you whatsoever. The only time that they come towards you is they speak English, and that's when they need your input on something, or they want to ask you a question. That's equally unfair, right? The anonymous, though, is saying sometimes there are these water cooler conversations. They're not so much like, it's not in a meeting, but it's like we're in the office, like there's camaraderie, we get along and we're laughing about something, but you are not including some of the employees who do not understand your language. How do we navigate even that space? Because in a meeting, I think that's just completely uncalled for. If I'm in a meeting and you're busy speaking Afrikaans, Anjan, and then you come to me when you want my input, or you've got a question for me, you speak English, that's wild. Or you're in a meeting, you're busy speaking isiZulu, and there are people who, in an official meeting, then maybe you need to read your contract and understand the company you work for and what the understanding is around what language you're using there. Because why are you coming here with a language that other people do not understand in an official sitting, work set up, like in a meeting or in a board meeting? I just think that's ridiculous. Lebogang, what do you think? You're calling us from the Johannesburg South.
Yes, Clement. After morning, yes, Clement.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I'm a blind person. Yeah. I didn't know that one day I'll be blind. So I was learning most of the languages. Tonga, Venda, Zulu, Xhosa, and other languages. So I like to advise the anonymous. It's a good advantage for you to learn the language. Because now, on my side, for now I'm working in a plantation agriculture. 97% did their Xhosa. So when they speak Xhosa, I do understand fluently Xhosa, because now I did learn Xhosa for my advantage. Even now, man, when you go to SABC One, there's this song story there in SABC One. They're speaking Tsonga there. I'm a blind person. I don't need anyone to translate for me what they are saying, because I know what they are saying. And then you go to SABC 2. You remember Movango. They are no more there now. I can hear what they were saying in Venda. But Venda, at least, I was trying to reply there and there. But if they are talking, you cannot gossip about it.
Yeah.
I like to voice anonymous.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. In the Johannesburg South. Let's go to some more WhatsApps.
Yeah, the issue of language is complicated, because even amongst blacks, you'll find people who don't speak other people's languages. So yeah, it's very complicated, because I can be amongst guys who don't speak Sesotho, and I can't expect them to switch to my language just because I don't know their language.
Good day, Clement and team. I work in Pretoria, and there is like a whole mixture of languages that are spoken here. I just think in the office setting, people should just generally speak English. And if a language that you don't understand is spoken to you or in your presence, no, the conversation is not for you. Could be about you, but it's not for you. But what I've learned is I embrace all languages. I try to speak most languages, especially Afrikaans. You can't speak behind my back in Afrikaans. I will speak back to you in Afrikaans or isiZulu. I Mosotho, but I try and embrace it because I am aware that I live in South Africa and it's diverse and everybody has got the right to speak their languages whenever they want to. So I understand the lady that just sent their voice note. Let it be. She mustn't take it to heart. Just let it be.
Yeah. But I love that she's also tried. You know, there are people who've never even tried to understand a bit of a language. And guys, this is not just an issue of white and black. There are some people who are from other countries. There are people who are Nigerian, someone who are from the DRC, some people who are from Europe, America, in other countries who now live in this country. And they are part of our work environment. How do we accommodate each other in a place of work without also compromising on ourselves? I mean, sometimes my English bundles are also gone. Like, I'm tired of speaking English. And sometimes I'm like, hey, but I want to talk to someone in that language. What I won't do though is, if there's someone in our company who can understand Sepedi, I will switch to accommodate them. But my message is always, you need to learn something as well. Like, let's accommodate each other. It can't be that the compromise is always made on one side. I mean, is that fair? Learning languages is difficult for anyone. So the minute it's going to be a problem is when you feel entitled to me speaking in a language you understand, when we're not in a meeting and I'm just having a normal informal conversation with other colleagues. But what I like about Anonymous is she's tried to chat to them, like to understand and learn a bit of Zulu. Her issue is sometimes they switch to Sesotho and she can't understand that. And I think it's unfair if you've got someone in the office who's also your friend, you get along, and you're constantly having these conversations that doesn't include them. So how do we resolve that? 10 minutes before 12.
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
7:02.
8 minutes before 12 o'clock. Patricia says on the WhatsApp line, Clement, I understand this is Zulu and Xhosa. However, at a SASA office, the official used to give instructions in English. He spoke Sesotho. Fortunately, there was a lovely lady who interpreted for me. This official was absolutely rude. Bordering on racial discrimination. I'm a person of color. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, an official who, during their official duties, they're busy talking to you in their mother tongue. That's why I said earlier, maybe people need to refer back also to their contracts. Like, they need to refer back to the contract. Unless, of course, during that moment of you discharging your official responsibilities, you're saying, I don't know how to say this in English. But you can also ask for help. But how does it help you as a leader, as a manager, when you are speaking a language that the people you are giving responsibilities to don't even understand? Huh? Jabulani, you're in Bronkhorstspruit. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
I'm all right. You know, Clement, one thing that a lot of people don't understand, we speak English. We speak Afrikaans. That's not our first, second, or third language. You know, we speak a language where we grew up with. And when people expect us to be speaking in English and Afrikaans, they must understand. It's a lot of work for us mentally to move from your own mother tongue to then speak English. Like I said to you, I'm in Bronkhorstspruit, and it's a Afrikaans dominated community. And people here refuse to speak English. Refuse. They will speak Afrikaans.
Jabulani? Oh, we're losing Jabulani there. Yeah. And he says sometimes like people just refuse to speak English. And in many instances, they can understand it. But they just don't want to. Well, in that case, if you're going to come and speak to me in Afrikaans or speak to me in a language that I don't understand, I'm not proficient in, then I'm going to respond ka Sepedi. Ke tla bolela Sepedi, wena o tla bolela Afrikaans. Re bona re tswela pele byang. Why must I struggle when we can at least both of us compromise? More of your WhatsApps.
Good afternoon, Clement, and the listeners, and the viewers as well. Clement, yeah, man, I think that's quite unfortunate. I think the lady has got a really good heart. I think she's coming from a good place. But you know, I mean, I work in the mining space, and the issue with the language is it really is a thing where often it would happen that even in meetings, you know, certain people will conduct themselves in a certain language. I myself quite fluent in Afrikaans, so I don't really have an issue with, you know, people switching over to Afrikaans. But then in the context of an official meeting, you know, some people don't really understand the language, and not just in Afrikaans, but other people will also speak, whether it's Zulu or whatever. But in the context of a meeting, it does get quite unprofessional, and it's something that at some point needs to be addressed. I personally have addressed it in one of my meetings, but yeah, clearly it is still quite a thing. Yeah, thank you.